we're getting some big dungeon changes going forward in Season 4. Which is funny, because I was talking about dungeon changes in 10.2.6, and Season 4 is in 10.2.6, so haha! We are getting dungeon changes. So here, hold on, let me maybe make this look a little bit better here. So, we are going to read this post, and I'm going to explain it. So let's get into it. Dragonflight Season 4 dungeon changes ahead. Dragonflight Season 4 brings with it a variety of changes, including new adjustments to dungeons, their progression, and rewards in the player feedback loop. As part of ongoing development in Dragonflight, the development team identified 3 issues to address based on community feedback regarding the dungeon system as it is. Heroic dungeons are barely distinct from normal dungeons at max level, and that distinction mostly only matters during a few days after players first reach max level. I don't even do heroics. Mythic Zero dungeons rapidly lose relevance a few weeks into an expansion once the M+ season starts, with occasional exceptions for the weekly event quest. With the only true in-game dungeon mode, M+, currently revolves around a timer. This means that other than new mega dungeons, there isn't really a place for in-game players who enjoy a more methodical dungeon pacing and gameplay. Given the combination of 2 underutilized difficulties and a gap in meeting player demand, we're restructuring dungeon difficulty and rewards in Season 4. So this will probably be in April with Season 4, or it's going to be with Season 4, but Season 4 is most likely going to be in April. That's what I'm expecting. Heroic, we don't know yet, but that's what it's looking like. Heroic difficulty and rewards will move up to roughly the current level of M+, or Mythic Zero. These dungeons will remain available to queue into via Group Finder, though an item level requirement to queue will also go up accordingly. Mythic Zero difficulty and rewards will move up to roughly the current level of Mythic 8 through 10. This is a bit hand-wavy numerically, it's close to M10, but not having a timer at all or affix really offsets that quite a bit. The existing Mythic Plus system will pick up where that leaves off, such as a Mythic 5 in Season 4 is roughly equivalent in difficulty rewards, and in Plus rating, remember that for later, to Mythic 15 today. Here's a visualization of changes. Light blue circles represent where new affixes appear, going from M2, M7, M14 in the current world to M2, M5, M10 in the new one. Okay, so let's look. So normal is the same. This is the stuff we can do followers with. Heroic now awards M0 level rewards. Okay? Then there's the jump. Mythic Zero, listen, now awards Mythic 10 level rewards and rating. This is equivalent to now. Mythic 0 in Season 4 will reward Mythic 10 rating and rewards. Okay. And then for M+, a 2 will add Tyrannical and Fortified, and then going up. And then a Mythic 10 will award Mythic 20 level loot. And they even give us a whole thing. I'm going to link this in the video. No timer like the present. Season 4 changes will apply to all 8 of the Dragonflight dungeons. So there it is, Season 4, all 8 Dragonflight dungeons. As part of these adjustments, we have a few goals in mind. Recalibrate core difficulties to align with seasonal player experience and progression. I like this. Serve the community who enjoys dungeon content but feels that M+ content isn't for them due to the pressures of taking part. Create a better environment in Mythic dungeons to prepare more players to take part in M+. So, the base Mythic that you gotta get a group for is gonna be harder. Heroic is actually gonna require you to do the bosses. Alright? And give you rewards accordingly. But yeah, and then M0 is going to be an actual challenge. But no timers, no affixes. And then timed will feel kind of like the later stuff to a 20. And if you're doing 20 or beyond, you're good. And if you're doing 20s now, you're fine. That's what they're saying. They're saying if you're doing 20s, you will get a hero. If you're doing 15s, you'll easily get your rating that you need, is what they're saying. One of the most notable changes players can look forward to is the removal of the timer for Mythic Keystone dungeons for what are currently 0 through 10. So if you're currently doing a 0 through 10, there is no more timer for you. There is no 0 through 10 to choose from, technically, but you can just do a 0 and you're getting rewarded with no timer and all that. Here's players that can run through these dungeons at their own pace without the need to watch the clock while still honing their skills. Yeah, there's not levels to it though. It's just heroic and then big jump. Alright. Normal. This difficulty is unchanged. Heroic. The tuning and rewards of this difficulty are increasing to be equivalent to a baseline Mythic 0 dungeon in the current system. Mythic difficulty changes and mechanics will not be present in this difficulty. This remains a queuable experience. So, okay, it's just going to be as healthy. Okay, so they're still not adding the mechanics. Mythic. The tuning and rewards of this difficulty are increasing to the equivalent of a plus 10 dungeon. Remember, this gives rating now. You get M+ rating for doing a base Mythic now. Equivalent to a plus 10 in Season 4. No. Listen. If you're doing 10s for Season 3, you now can do a Mythic 0 to the equivalent, and it will feel the same. And a Mythic 0 in Season 4 will give you rating equal to a 10. There are no timers, affixes, or limitations on changing specializations or talents while in the dungeon. The goal is to create a mega dungeon-like difficulty for this experience. So Mythic will feel like if you remember Cataclysm, like the first weeks when Heroics were actually hard, this is going to be actually hard. Heroics are hard, Mythics are hard. Again, the goal is to this difficulty should present a meaningful challenge and provide commensurate rewards without the pressures of the current M+ system. Mythic 0 is still on a weekly lockout under this model. Alright, but you can still only do it once a week. Interesting. The Mythic Plus system will have rewards up to level 10 with a +2 starting from what would regularly be a +11 in the current system. So if you're doing +11s right now, you'll be starting with +2s. A +5 should be as hard as a +15, and a +10 should be as hard as a +20 in the current Mythic Plus system, etc. Affixes would slot in at +2, +5, and +10. 2. Fortified Tyrannical. 5. Entangling Incorporeal. 10. Bursting Bolstering. Dungeon, etc. Yeah. Dungeon ratings should be equivalent to what they represent in the current system. Yet, see, dungeon ratings. There should be a smaller range of keystone levels to find groups for, and more meaningful progression between each level. That's the thing. If you look at the current, not many people are looking for this level of keys. Alright? This is kind of all for the same people. So, if now we got queuable M+0s, which will be good loot-wise, and we'll see why later. And then now, if you want to make the jump and make a group, you do a Mythic, you're getting big loot. You're getting big loot for that jump, but it's going to be more of a jump. And then there's just the smaller... There's a smaller... If you're doing 10s to 20s right now, you're still just doing that progression to get your keystone here or whatever. So here, look. It's important to note that the base structure of dungeon rewards is not changing significantly, so what you would have to earn for completing a Mythic 0 will be earnable in the Heroic difficulty dungeon set. Here's a basic rundown of what you can expect. So, normal dungeons in Season 3, drop Explorer gear, 421 normal dungeons. Season 4, normal dungeons, drop 460s. We are now getting a look at the item levels going into Season 4, so that's good. So, normal dungeons, 460. It's still going to be 3 out of 8 Explorer. It's just the Season 4 version of that gear. Alright. Then, we got Adventurer. This is where Heroic lands right now. If you were to do a Heroic Dungeon right now, this is what you're getting. Nothing. Now, in Season 4, you're going to be getting a 4 out of 8 Adventurer piece, which is what you get out of a Mythic 0 right now. And it's going to be a 476 piece in Season 4. And these are Cubable still, so you're going to be getting 4 out of 8 Adventurer gear from Heroic Dungeons. But here's the big cool part. So Dungeons Awards for the Season 4 Great Vault, Heroic Dungeons now give you Vault progress. That is going to be active in Season 4 Dragonflight. And Heroic Dungeons are now going to give you a 4 out of 8 Veteran piece. So Heroic Dungeons are going to give you a Vault that can convert to Tier in Season 4. Heroic Dungeons give tier pieces, weekly tier pieces in Season 4. And it is upgradable to normal mode loot. Alright, 489 pieces from Heroic Dungeon vaults. That's big. And that's queuable. That's queuable. You can queue for that. That's awesome. Alright. Now, Mythic Zeros, which aren't queuable, but, you know, you gotta get the group together, are gonna be dropping for 93s, 1 out of 8 champion pieces. So this is normal raid loot. Normal raid from a Mythic Dungeon that's upgradable. Alright, and then 2s, 496, 3, 4, 499. And then, if you do those Mythic Zeros, your Vault, because these also work for Vault, are going to give you Heroic tier level pieces. Heroic raid level pieces in Season 4. And supposedly beyond. So this is really good. So, if you can do base Mythics, you can get Heroic gear at the end of the week. Going forward. That's really nice. And this is supposedly where Delves will cap off. Alright, so that's cool. Alright, and then a Mythic 10 in Season 4 will give you 522, which is a Myth 2 out of 4 piece. Equivalent to 43 right now. So these are the item levels we're working with in Season 4. It's going to go from 454 to 522. Alright, big, big. And come Season 4, if you're doing 20s, you're just going to be doing 10s. And if you feel like doing a no timer Mythic 0, you can get Heroic loot. No timer. Mythic end of week reward Heroic loot. Alright, that's the thing. That's the cool part. So these Mythics are going to be actually hard, but there's no timer. You just got to do it. Alright, you get a 493 piece in Season 4, so normal raid loot. And then at the end of the week, if you do 1, you get a 506 hero piece. All of this is tier convertible, up from veteran. That's cool. And Heroic Dungeons count for the vault. This is great. Crest and Flightstone rewards are changing to match the same difficulty with only some minor adjustments. Flightstone's earning for any given M+ will match the equally challenged M+ from the previous season. This means that a Mythic +2 in Season 4 will give the same number of Flightstones as a Mythic +12 in Season 3 currently does. The rewards will continue to match difficulty even if we're calling those difficulty changes. Bonus Flightstone awards for increasing any party member's Mythic Plus score remain unchanged. And you can do that in a Mythic! Oh my god! So, Heroic Dungeons don't give rating. And doing the base Mythic will count as doing a +10. So doing every dungeon as a base mythic will get you like a 1,000 rating, and then all 5s will get you 2k. Interesting. Wupling quests. Okay, Wupling quests are no longer available in M+ dungeons as those difficulties no longer exist. Players can continue to collect Wupling crates from many outdoor sources. Hopefully they add more. Players will earn 10 Drake quests on completion of a Mythic 0 dungeon. That's normal mode upgrading stuff, as there's no timer to beat. Worm crests will be available in Mythic plus 2 to Mythic plus 5 in the same quantities as existing Mythic plus dungeons, and expert quests will be available in Mythic difficulty plus 6 and up, and also in the same quantities as existing M+ dungeons. We believe these changes provide new opportunities for players to experience Mythic and in Mythic Plus dungeons while providing additional challenges for in-game players in the future. We look forward to your feedback. We'll see you in dungeons where Dragonflight Season 4 goes live in the future. Okay, so sum it up. Season 4, Heroic Dungeons give vaults. Season 4, Heroic Dungeons are as hard as Mythic Zeros right now, but are still queuable. Alright. Season 4, Mythic Zeros are as hard as Mythic 10s right now, but give normal raid loot. And it's upgradable. Alright. And at the end of the week, give hero loot. Heroic raid loot. Level loot. Alright. And for anyone who does Mythic Plus 10 and up, you're now doing 2 through 10. There you go. So if you're doing 15s, you're doing 5s. If you're doing 20s, you're doing 10s. If you're doing 25s, you're doing 15s. So there you go. I'm excited for this. This has big implications for a smaller group of players, but now Hero Dungeon players can get raid loot. There's now queuable raid loot from dungeons, not just LFR. And then if you got the wherewithal to get a Mythic 0 done, you get normal raid loot and hero loot. That's good. Dude, Season 4 is looking great. Season 4 is looking super good. I'm excited for these changes. And it says 11-0 and beyond, so War Within Season 1 is going to be having these changes. Also, Season 4 dungeons confirmed Dragonflight dungeons. The 8 Dragonflight dungeons. That has been confirmed in this. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.